Good morning, members. I call this Ways and Means hearing, budget hearing to order. It's 10:04 a.m. We do have a quorum to conduct today's business. And before we begin, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Ralph Yumo, Chairman for the Ways and Means Committee. To my left, the Vice Chair, Representative BJ Ato. On the floor, we have the Chair for Commerce and Tourism, Representative Julie Ogo. And to her left, we have the Chair for JGO, Rep. Marisa Flores. To her left, we have Representative from Precinct 1, a member, Representative Roman Beneventi. Across the aisle, we have member and now Chairman, Representative John Paul Sablan. And to his left, we have the member from Precinct 1, Representative Joe Flores. And we have Representative Vincent Odan, Chairman for PUTC. So hopefully your power bills are all taken care of. And we have our staff, we have our councils, Joe and Joe, our fiscal analyst, TG, and we have Cam and Nick, our LAs for today, along with our Sergeant at Arm, Ben, and John Diaz, our IT. Thank you again. MVA is the executive chair here, or I didn't know. Okay, just blended in the crowd. Thank you for making yourself present today. With I believe there's some board members here, your management team, and I do see a presentation. So with that, can I get a motion to adopt today's agenda? There has been a motion, discussion. Ready? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. I have it. We'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the gallery that'd like to make comments with regards to the request made by the Marianas Visitors Authority? Being there's none, Sarge, can you escort the executive chair and I guess whoever's gonna speak, where no Rep Odan, can you move? Can you move to in between Rep Marisa? Because I think there's a few of them. No, let's do it. Thank you again, Director and Chairwoman Kavanaugh, for making us present today. I'll hand over the floor now to you, Director, to introduce your staff, and then we can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of this committee. For the record, Chris Concepcion, Managing Director for the Marianas Visitors Authority. With us here are our Chairwoman of the Board, Gloria Kavanaugh, our Vice Chairwoman, Jamaica Tyrone, our Treasurer and Member of the Board, Marvin De Leon Guerrero. And then I'll begin to the far right, our Manager of Community Projects Division, Martin Duenas, our Manager for Product Development Division, Raquel Ogun, our Administrative Manager, Carol Chargaleff. We have our Chief Accountant, Eds Dereza, our Tour Guide Certification Manager, George Sublan, and our Marketing Manager, Thomas Kim, is here in the audience somewhere. And that's our side, Mr. Chairman.
You still have the floor. I believe you are presenting opening statement or presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure who's controlling the slides. Okay, thank you. And I do want to recognize our PR consultant, Catherine Perry, Thank you, Kat, for being here. Hafaday, everyone on this committee. Thank you, Chairman and members of this committee, for this opportunity to dialogue with you guys this morning. It's very important, and especially with the challenges our tourism economy is facing now, to have this in-person dialogue so we can better work together to overcome these many challenges. Our comments today will be an update on the state of our tourism industry and the work of the MVA, where we are today, and some of our plans for the next fiscal year. For those who attended our membership meeting yesterday, thank you very much. So some of this will be familiar. The next slide, as you know, we are an autonomous government agency governed by a 9-member board of directors. 5 are appointed by the governor and 4 are elected by our membership. We just had an election yesterday. Our chairwoman is to my right, Ms. Gloria Kavanaugh from the Elan Group of companies. Here's our 10 divisions on the screen, funded by our budget. We do have 42 FTEs, but only 28 are filled. As always, the marketing and promotion of the Marianas comprises the largest percentage of our expenditures. Community projects, which handles our signature events and membership. And we'll go ahead and share highlights of all these divisions today. Some of you will be familiar with this chart. Our historic visitor arrivals since 1978 at the birth of our Commonwealth. 1997 was the highest year with about 750,000 visitors. In FY19, right before COVID, we were at 425,000 arrivals. So far this fiscal year, we reached over 160,000 arrivals as of May. Overall, our arrivals year to date are still 61% lower than they were before Super Typhoon Yutu, and 37% lower than before the pandemic. With strong Korea market recovery here in yellow, you can see, well, there's very few arrivals from China, which is in red. China was about equal to Korea before the pandemic. You can see clearly here the comparison of market share year to date. Korea is lower than before Yutu, but has rebounded very strongly since the pandemic. However, we want to keep in mind that arrivals in FY19 would have been higher except for Typhoon Yutu, when most flights were canceled. If everybody remembers, the airport was shut down in late October, November, and even in through middle of December. China is still very low, but other than some one-day ship arrivals from Japan, China has been slightly outpacing Japan since Hong Kong Airlines began direct flights in April. We'll be giving more details on these markets today, but as you can see, with the closure of some of the hotels, bank branches shutting down, airlines, and other major businesses, our current arrival rate without a strong third source market is very challenging for both us in the private sector and especially us in the public sector, and especially those in the private sector. And it's unsustainable for some. Our next slide, moving to our FY25 budget requests for Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, based on what we project to be $6 million in hotel occupancy tax and the other half on local appropriation, so a total of $12 million. One note, support to other government agencies, as you see on this screen, refers to the municipalities' share of the hotel occupancy tax. This budget is still very low compared to our competitors. Just for everyone's reference, GVB is requesting $35 million for next fiscal year. We do want to thank the governor and the legislature for hearing us out on the last budget hearing when you reinstated the Public Law 18-1, which gave us 80% of the hotel tax to fund our operations. And we do want to recognize the Department of Finance for their strong working relationship and for remitting the hotel occupancy tax funds timely to us. With that, we've been able to strategically accomplish the work of all of these divisions that you saw earlier. We still have some remaining federal funding, the CBGDDR grant administered by NMHC for specific approved marketing programs. Most of that is going towards some of the work of our offshore offices in Korea. Also, the MVA is now a co-grantee of an EDA grant for 3 destination enhancement projects in MARPI. You can see here that our biggest budget increase for next fiscal year is from marketing, as that federal funding from CBGDR will expire this year, December 31st, if we're not granted an extension, and we have requested an extension. If we do fall short of our hot projections, we will adjust accordingly, of course, but for personnel, operations, events, and most of our marketing, we will remain reliant on local funding. We could certainly make good use of more money, but 12 million we think is a conservative figure that we are confident we can work within. On the next slide, a majority of our budget is always allocated for marketing. So here are a few highlights from our Korea and Japan markets. There's much more detailed updates on Korea from yesterday's general membership meeting, and we'll provide that to you guys if this committee would like. Compared to FY19, before the pandemic, total outbound from Korea has recovered 66%, and this is outbound from Korea to the whole world. Another way of measuring recovery is year to date. October through April, year to date, the number of Koreans coming to the Marianas is outpacing FY 2019 pre-pandemic with 29% increase. A strong performance. But again, we need to remember we didn't have any flights in late October, November, and December 2018 due to U2. Again, compared to our nearest competitor, our year-to-date recovery in terms of arrivals, we're actually 53% higher, and they're 6% higher. So in terms of the number of air seats, the Marianas has 63% recovered more air seats than pre-pandemic, and Guam has 8% more air seats than they did before the pandemic. So we're on better footing. The next slide, as you know, consumer demand and available air seats, they really do work hand in hand. That includes both low-cost carriers and full-service carriers who offer a business class cabin. For Korea this fiscal year, we're projecting about 226,000 seats using average load factor, which is a percentage of available seats sold from last year at roughly 84%. We're projecting about 190,000 arrivals from Korea this fiscal year compared to 160,000 last fiscal year. A few marketing highlights from Korea. Last year, this time, we mentioned that we were executing a contract under CBGDR for the Korea Media Blitz campaign. We started it last year, and we will continue it up to December of this year. And this is this destination ad campaign that you're seeing here on the screen. It's generating destination awareness and demand in two of the largest cities in Korea, Seoul and Busan. And it's supposed to show, yeah. So these ads are live in Seoul and Busan. Digital ads, on and offline media ads, promotional events, and out-of-home ads, including these key anamorphic ads at high traffic areas in Seoul. You can see there's a QR code there at the end of that ad that leads to the landing pages for Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. Digital marketing is tied to almost everything we do. It's key for today's travel industry. So we will continue to collaborate closely with our two most important partners in any market, the airlines and the travel agencies. Working closely with them, we've seen the development of new products and targeting niche markets such as specific travel packages for Tinian and Rota, English as a second language camps, packages to join our festivals or sporting events, and much more. Next slide. Airline partnerships also continue to be an effective way to stretch our limited dollar. We're moving away from providing any subsidies that the airlines needed during COVID that were necessary during the pandemic. That's really a financially unhealthy and unsustainable way to support air service. Rather, we are partnering with airlines to market and promote their flights and our destinations. Creates lasting benefit for the islands overall, regardless of how a consumer may ultimately choose to visit the Marianas. So in FY25, we plan to continue participating in travel fairs and other related public events to personally meet with travelers, especially media, travel trade partners, travel agencies, airlines. This is a very important part of marketing and promotions that we cannot neglect in order to stay top of mind in our source markets. For example, GVB spent nearly $1 million for travel alone last year. We really don't spend that much, but it's essential for us to have a presence at these shows alongside our competitors from around the world. Also important, we're going to continue our annual Marianas Roadshow, where we invite travel trade partners to an event that's focused solely on Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. The latest updates on destination and on our destination, and it's a great opportunity for us to answer questions and reinforce and forge new partnerships. Another very effective return on investment is familiarization or FAM tours. Through these fam tours, we pool our resources with airlines, hotels, restaurants, and other partners to bring media, travel agencies, and social media influencers, KOLs, key opinion leaders, to experience Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, and to experience the product for themselves, so that we can better sell and promote our destination. Our most recent FAM had 8 media outlets, and it's already generated $250,000 worth of ad exposure. Travel agencies are also very impressed with Tinian and Rota, and they're developing island-specific tour packages. Again, I want to say that in order to maximize this opportunity, we really need affordable, safe, and easily bookable inter-island air service. So now turning to Japan. Outbound travel to Japan is about half of what it was 5 years ago. Japan's economy is stagnant. Overseas travel is slowly but steadily recovering. However, compared to 2019, there's still a very long way to go. Next slide. As we mentioned a year ago, the currency exchange rate was working against us in Japan, and it still is, much more so in Japan than Korea. The high value of the dollar is making our destination less attractive to these customers, but many are still interested in international travel. The allure of destinations with higher living expenses abroad has waned due to steep surge in airfares and, of course, the weak yen. Meanwhile, domestic travel in Japan is very popular. But we've worked with United to continue the direct service to Saipan, and our request to improve their flight schedule was finally approved just last month. We have daytime flights now from Tokyo. That's really helped in terms of promoting the flight and in terms of boosting load factors. So it's very good for us. As far as marketing and promotions, notably, we have a series of media collaborations this year that's generated millions of dollars in exposure value for us. This includes several World War II related programs from NHK, the largest TV channel in Japan, that were filmed here, magazine tie-ups on golf and other activities, web exposures, and much more. At the Consumer Diving Show Marine Diving Fair in Tokyo, we won an award for our best overseas diving, number 2, as voted online. The Marianas, Managaha, Tetetu Beach, and several of our diver shops and dive operators and guides regularly win awards associated with this fair. On the next slide, we participated in JATA Tourism Expo. Some of the members of this committee were there. This is one of the largest travel events in the world. Conducted social media campaigns and other activities similar to what we do in Korea. As usual, people were very attracted by our cultural activities. We also hosted a seminar for our travel trade partners in Osaka, and we had one this year in Tokyo. Most excitedly, we just launched a new social media campaign in Japan, creating a partnership with Ultra Super New, which is our creative ad agency based in Harajuku. And they have many, many global brand clients. So MVA is very pleased to work with these guys. Between You and I is as you see on the screen. It's our campaign, and it's going to elevate awareness of the Marianas amongst this younger generation who don't necessarily have that historic connection to the Marianas as their parents or grandparents once did. This is going to connect us with this new generation in Japan on an emotional level, which is what today's travelers are looking for. More meaningful travel. And it's going to differentiate us amongst the mainstream destinations for our natural beauty, our culture, and the warmth of our people. The campaign focuses on 4 pillars: community, nature, mindfulness, and immersive, CNMI. So it's a very refreshing take on the Marianas, and we invite everyone here and everyone listening to like, share, and subscribe to our social media channels so you can help promote us in these markets. Next slide. Regarding the development of another strong source market, we've undertaken several activities in Taiwan, Australia, Singapore, meetings, trade shows, road shows, expos to meet with the traveling public and dialogue with airlines, travel agencies, tour operators about expanding travel to the Marianas. We will continue this effort. Once committed partners are identified, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money to successfully open a new source market that isn't already familiar with us, but it's got to be done. Next slide. Our major marketing goals and objectives for the next fiscal year are a combination of what's been proven successful and new directions to capitalize on changing travel trends, such as expansion in the niche markets of ESL, English as a second language, sports and outdoor activities, and seniors. Right now, we're evaluating proposals submitted for representation services for Korea and our Japan office. I do want to mention, though, that although the loss of Asiana Airlines is a definite setback, especially losing the business class passengers, it's important to recognize that they are undergoing bankruptcy proceedings and they are close to a merger with Korean Airlines. So Asiana Airlines will cease to exist as an entity soon. We actually had initiated dialogue already with Korean Air since last year about the feasibility of starting direct service to Saipan. Which is going to be a good thing. There's some good traction going on there. We're not ready to make any announcement, but this is good news for CNMI. And if we're successful, it's going to require the commitment of marketing funding, of course, at the start to ensure that the success of any new service is guaranteed. For Japan, last year we reached out to several airlines in the market, including Skymark, which everyone remembers flew here in 2019 and had to stop during COVID in 2020. We're engaging them to begin direct service once again. Discussions are very positive, and we're looking forward to a new service in 2025. So now I want to turn our focus over to the work we're doing in our other divisions, starting with product development, also known as destination enhancement. You may remember that last year we showed a bunch of photos of our dilapidated buildings, the visual pandemic. The bad news is a lot of those buildings are still there. But the good news is the Office of Planning and Development and Zoning are now working with a federal grant that they received to address this issue. But this is also going to take time. In terms of other product development projects, we're excited to be the lead agency along with the Office of Planning and Development for a $1.4 million EDA grant for the enhancement projects at Last Command Post, including a new restroom, Bird Island Lookout, and Suicide Cliff. And so we've begun the A&E design phase for these projects and hope to break ground on our first project this year. Next slide. We've been encouraged by a growing number of our community groups partnering with us on cleanups, paintings of the medians in Garapan, landscaping at the Saipan sign, water blasting and painting at the Japanese, Korean, and Okinawan memorials in Marpi. These are the people that make tourism their business. And so this is what we need more of, and we thank them. In cooperation with other agencies, we recently funded the upkeep and maintenance of the historic Isley Airfield Complex at Saipan International Airport. One more good thing coming up, we want to accompany our iconic Saipan sign in Marpi. We're unveiling our next sign in just a few weeks, Hofade and Tiro on the right there. So on Rota, we recently had high school students repaint the historic Japanese sugar train engine and the iconic Japanese cannon, while our staff repainted the Songsung Village Lookout. We repaired the picnic tables and benches that were vandalized at Swimming Hole and repainted and installed solar lights at Tenetu Bridge. We're identifying needed improvements for the next fiscal year, and we want to include repairs at Sabana Peace Memorial. This is all in addition to our team's efforts on the ground or their daily responsibility to maintain 16 sites in Rota. Tinian, our main focus is maintaining 17 sewer sites around the whole island. This year, that's included repainting at Suicide Cliff. We assisted the mayor's office in clearing at the former American Cemetery for a Memorial Day ceremony. Anna's Northfield is sometimes closed now for military exercises. We're working to develop new sites. Re-clearing the historic Ginoza and Tachibana trails that have ties to the island's Japanese and Okinawan history, as well as the Long Beach Interpretive Trail. Of course, those trails will now also need to be maintained. So we're working on identifying projects for next year, including repairing the railing at Suicide Cliff and more. And another very important activity of the MVA are really our signature events under our community projects division. We're very pleased that this year to have inaugurated our first ever Rota Marathon on President's Day weekend in January. We had over 80 participants from on and off island from as far away as Japan. We knew we had to bring back its own signature event to Rota, and this is really a great kickoff. We had a tree planting ceremony to tie back to ecotourism, an island-style banquet at the Roundhouse, and very strong support from our partner Mayor Aubrey and the Rota legislative delegation. Valentino Hotel, Star Marianas, and really the whole community came out in full force. With affordable and more frequent airlift, we think that we can really grow this event. We will plan to hold it again in January 2025. Looking at our annual calendar, these are the signature events of the MVA anticipates to organize in FY25 on the left. On the right are other events organized by the community that we often support. We do have a strong working relationship with the mayors of Rota, Tinian, Saipan, and we want to help them get the word out on these events. So we continue to encourage all these other event organizers to finalize the dates and some basic plans at least 3 months in advance, so there's adequate time for tourists to plan a visit to the islands. On the next slide, these signature events are held to attract visitors, add value to their stay in the Marianas, and attract media attention to our destination. For example, you can see on the screen here, we hosted 2 celebrity eaters from Japan and Korea at the OMG International Food Challenge at Taste of the Marianas last month. Through our Korean influencer alone, the event has already received over $400,000 worth of PR exposure, as monitored by our Korea representative office. At December's Hell of the Marianas last year, we partnered with cycling clubs, airlines, and celebrities in South Korea and Japan. Almost a third of participants came from Korea. We gained almost $800,000 in PR exposure for that one. And then a big one, Saipan Marathon 2024. More great publicity with Skechers as our title sponsor and other commercial brand partnerships, Coca-Cola being one of them, social media influencers, and more. We renewed our certification of the Saipan Marathon by World Athletics in cooperation with the Association of International Marathons and Distance Races, which is very essential for attracting international marathoners. We had over 500 international and some local registrants this year, and our goal is always to increase that for next year. Next slide. We just reinstated our tour guide certification program, which has been suspended since the pandemic. Tour guides, tour operators, and any land or sea transportation operators must now update their documentation and get certified or recertified. We're going to give a period of time for them to come in, and we're going to be relying on enforcement authorities like BCQ, DPS, the Business License Division, amongst others, to help us ensure everyone that serves as a tour guide is properly certified. So this is going to help our visitors have a very safe and informative visit to the islands. And lastly, last week we launched our new website, English language website, mymarianas.com. It's a very nice website. I encourage everybody to take a look at it. In closing, FY25 is projected to be a year of continued growth for visitor arrivals, but it's going to remain very challenging without that third strong source market. Currency exchange is out of our control. We support the approval of EVS TAP and Annex 6, allowing a separate carve-out of direct flights only for the Marianas. This will go a long way in our recovery efforts. We're also hopeful for a waiver of cabotage laws, which would make travel to and from Guam more affordable. And if there's one particular request that we like to make for your consideration is that you allow the MVA to look into long-term financial support so that we are able to build our own office building, similar to other government agencies. This can allow us to have a home for the MVA, which would free up resources that we can spend on other important objectives. So we want to reiterate our gratitude to this committee in particular and members of the legislature as a whole for maintaining an open dialogue and good working relationship with us. It takes a village to operate a tourist destination. Every department, organization, individual taking responsibility for their area of influence. We're in this boat together. It's important that we communicate and cooperate so we can really jointly work to make our Marianas a world-class destination with a vibrant tourism-based economy, as envisioned here in our new ad campaign in Japan. We'd like to share a small clip of that in closing.
その島の青には終わりがない。例えば 送りたくなる青。絆を育む青。恋に落ちる青。雫が光る青。心にとどまる青。呼吸を整える青。自分を見つめる青。時空を超える青。そして移りゆく青。夜が明ける青。すべてを染める青。月が呼ぶ青。しー。ここだけの話。マリアナ諸島にはあなただけの青がある。
So that ad will launch next month in the Japan market. With that, Mr. Chairman, Suzu Small Seas and Olomai, to all of you here, we're here open to answer any questions that anyone might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Maybe an opening statement from the chair.
I always forget that you guys put me on the spot every year, and that's my fault. Thank you again for this time, and thank you for actually allowing the 18-1 to come back in line. We fought for that with you, Chairman, actually in 2015, I believe it was, in order to get some sort of regular funding to the MBA, a agency basically that works for us and for our economy. We have a really good group of managers here and board members that really put everything into the promotion of our economy and our tourism. We thank you very much for this opportunity, and we look forward to any of your questions. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, Chair Kavanaugh. Was that a U-Mobile again? Oh, I forgot it was.
Yes, it was.
Well, thank you for that. Normally, I would give the chairwoman for tourism, but she asked me to go first. So, just a couple of questions. I guess I think the chair, executive director already mentioned with regards to the talks with Korean Air and the merger. So, is there anything that needs to be done from our side that would try to, I guess, help the MBA or the administration with regards to maybe incentives with Korean Air, since they're already flying to Guam? So now that the mergers talks are, I believe it's being approved right now. Right. So, is there any, I guess, anything that needs to be done from our side so that we can at least show the, I guess, executives from the Korean Air that we're really serious about having them come this way, and I'm sure a lot of our members are for giving incentives to help out.
Okay. I think that we reported this to this body last year, where the governor had actually written a letter to Korean Airlines when Asiana at that point had pulled out, I think, in March of last year, and asking them to consider opening up flights to Saipan. Unfortunately, at that time, Asiana decided, okay, we're going to start flying again. And so Korean Air did not want to basically step on Asiana's foot. So out of respect, they said, okay, yes, we are interested, but not at this time. The beginning of this year, the vice chair and the deputy managing director and I went and we spoke with Korean Air again. And, they said that they were getting close. And as usual, when we're looking at flights that want to come in and do regular flights, they want to start as a charter, just basically to dip their toes in, test the market and see whether or not it is a viable market for them. So we have been in discussion with them about doing charter flights. Korea Air is actually a very high-end legacy airline, and the cost of doing a charter flight is really it's maybe $200-300 more per seat. And so we have been trying with different tour agents and talking to different tour agents to see what it would take for them to actually take that risk and buy the hard blocks, which is buying and guaranteeing the seats on the flights. We're first looking at a narrow body, which would have made it a lot easier for the tour agents to take that risk. But Korea Air turned around and they said, okay, no, we're looking at the wide body. So we could give you a better price, but you're looking at a wide body. And so that basically doubles the risk factor for the tour agents. Now that Asiana has pulled out, they probably or may come back as charter flights in the near future until the merger is actually completed by getting the approval from the U.S. But now that they are, now that it's open and they don't need to worry about Asiana's feelings and so on, that they might be a little bit more open. But that still means that we're going to have those marketing dollars, and those marketing dollars not only for the airlines but also for the tour agents that need to take the higher risk of buying the seats, because they have to basically do the charters first before they decide to do the regular. So that's actually something that we work into our budget to make sure that we have some money to do joint promotionals with both airlines as well as the tour agents.
Right. And Mr. Chairman, if I may, the chair is spot on. What we don't want to do is provide direct subsidies. What we want to do is provide marketing support so that it builds demand organically in the free market there in Korea, which is what our goal is to be for Korean Air. And the latest updates from the industry expectation is that they'll receive the final approval from the U.S. around October, which begins the winter schedule for airlines end of October. And so hopefully, if all things work out in our favor, we will make an announcement about flights by Korean Air by the end of the year, hopefully.
Thank you for that. With regards to since we're in the Korean market, has there been any interest with other LCCs coming out of Korea, Jin Air or Air Busan, or is there any interest adding to the list of other low-cost carriers coming into the cinema?
Yes and no. Yes, we approach these airlines and they're always looking for opportunities, but they do see that the market Jeju Air is adding a third flight here next month, and that's going to fill that need for the extra seats during high peak summer season. But in terms of them actually launching extra flights to Saipan, that's not on the table right now. So we're working with our existing partners, T-Way and Jeju, who are providing seats.
You're saying that because Jeju's adding additional flights, other airlines would be they're considering it as already saturated.
That's exactly the word that we actually use. I mean, right now the Korea market is saturated, and to add more flights would just be to add more flights. Yeah, it will decrease the price. The demand is there, but the demand is there for what supply that we already have. And so, if Jin Air were to come in, they would basically want to come in with again, a charter flight, which is the additional flight from Jeju. And the tour agents right now don't want to take the risk of an additional airline. They want to basically work with the airlines that are here. As far as the Busan leg, we did try that last year, and we did do a road show. It didn't work. It also didn't work for Guam, but they had already committed to another quarter more than how they committed or how long they committed for us, because they already had put it on, loaded it up on their website, and they had reservations. But the load factor for those flights for the additional quarter were actually very low for them.
Okay.
But we still try.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go into the I guess the Japan market, because we support the continuous marketing efforts to Korea and to maintain our the flights coming in. So going back into Japan, I know we we only have one carrier, and that's a U.S. carrier. So obviously, a low-cost carrier would be the option, but we're still gonna have to wait for Skymark. But other airlines like Vanilla or I guess Peach Air and Jetstar, I guess. I mean, is there interest with regards to low-cost carrier coming into the CNMI? Or is that something that it's going to take time because it needs approval from the U.S.
It
Department
will.
of FAA and all that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Vanilla Air no longer exists. They shut down during COVID. Peach Air is still around.
Still around, okay.
They don't have ETOPS. They don't have the equipment that's necessary to fly here. The only Japanese carrier besides JAL and ANA that have ETOPS is Skymark.
Skymark. So Skymark will be the
and Zip Air,
And
which is a wide body that flies long haul.
right.
I forgot the other part of the question.
Well, we just wanted to see any updates because I know the one U.S. carrier and the exchange rate is hurting us with Japan, and that one is very obvious. We see that. So, I mean, we can only, I guess, market so much, but at the end of the day, it's how much it's gonna cost to come here, right? So that's what we're looking at now and trying to see how we can improve. I know you're investing for, I guess it was Japanese market. You're planning to spend 2 million, I guess, for the Japan on your proposed FY25 budget.
Chair, if I may, this coming year is going to be very different from the past because we've been off the shelf for so long in the Japan market. A lot of things have changed, and if you would see, or when you did see that little clip at the end that was done by Ultra Super New, that is not a representative office. That's basically a marketing and advertisement office, and they made this plan with basically the idea of going after Gen Z and millennials, something that we never had before, something that we really don't understand, except for maybe some of the management that are actually millennials or within the Gen Z. And so it's basically putting us back on the shelf as the Marianas, where prior to the Marianas, it used to only be the recognition of Saipan. And so there's some good things about that. There's some bad things about that. But one of the good things about it is to recreate ourselves, because a lot of these millennials and the Gen Zs, they don't want to go to where their parents went. They don't want to go to where their grandparents went. They want to go to a new and exclusive destination. And as the Marianas, that's what we're trying to target and present ourselves as. And that's why we're kind of using this new approach and this new company that actually does the advertising and the marketing for this generation, these two generations, so that we could try to attract them to come here and do a new, basically, Japan market. Also this year, it's kind of very exciting because we went out and we did an RFP for a new marketing representative office in Japan. We had 3 presentations just this week that are very nice. And one of the things that we actually put on the RFP is that they have to have some sort of tie for airlift service, which is something that we've never had in the past, but is extremely important. And I think this goes to basically your question about the different airlines that are actually out there. And so we're looking at these 3 very closely to try to make sure that they would be able to reach out to, like, Zip, make sure that we still maintain the relationship with Skymark and be there when they even brought out the Korean LCCs that are in Japan, that have offices in Japan, and fly to Guam sometimes when it's charters, and sometimes fly to Saipan prior to COVID when it's high season. And so they have the relationship with these airlift services that they can actually talk to them and be knocking on their doors, more often than we would when we go there on our own.
So the 2 million is not going to be spent. on your proposed budget
Yes, it will be spent on basically
for
the
Japanese
yeah,
market?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once we award a contract.
Once, the awarding of the contract, it should actually start September 1st.
Okay. And okay, so I guess the next question would be for Hong Kong market. Since why is the proposed budget is only $500,000 compared to, since it's a new market, shouldn't it be more, we spend more on marketing to Hong Kong?
So the Hong Kong flights basically are the risk of two private sector companies. And so we support those private sector companies because we don't actually have an office there. And so that money would be going towards helping them with their marketing on that side. We don't actually have a market or an actual office in Hong Kong. So the Century Tours and the LT Travel basically are the ones that are guaranteeing the seats, that are buying the hard block on Hong Kong Airlines. And so there really isn't the need for the office right now. And they're the ones that have the office in in Hong Kong, and that are doing the marketing with support from MVA.
Okay, so but we're still gonna market Hong Kong, basically. I mean, that's because I'm looking at the budget proposal you had and or proposed. So I just wanted that clarification. Are we gonna spend more than $500,000 in the to try to build Hong Kong market, or that?
We would like to, but given the fact that we don't have an office, we think $500,000 is sufficient at this time.
Okay, thank you. Let me recognize now the chairwoman for tourism.
At this point, I want to yield to our vice chair for now. I'm still going. Yeah.
Okay, Miss Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, MVA, for being here. I think we've met many times before, and this is a very hot topic because this is one of our biggest source of revenue. And I think we all have an approach, but I'm not sure if we have an idea of what best practices are. I think COVID and the typhoons have really just reset everything. And here we are back again, right? At the beginning of your slide, it showed, or not the beginning, but towards the middle, it showed the history of the tourism industry. And I would have loved to see what that looked like prior to the federal government taking over our immigration, because it would be nice to see the importance and why it's important to have some authority when we're negotiating our successful industry when it comes to tourism, right? So my first question is, in terms of tourism and the mission, because I did read the mission of MBA, when was that mission adopted by your board of directors?
I honestly, Congresswoman, I don't know the answers to that. I assume that's been the mission since 1976 when the
Wow.
agency was inaugurated. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I don't know. Have you read your mission recently? Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that would be the first thing, because then that mission statement will give you guys some, I guess, think out of the box, or new ways to think about marketing when you're talking about your agency. Because when I'm reading it, I don't know. I get lost, and I'm not sure what's supposed to be happening here. But anyway, that would be my first comment. Take a look at that, I guess, the board, and, a revision maybe is revisit your mission statement. My second comment is, in terms of this tourism package that you spoke about, How is it, how many, I guess, how many marketing agencies do you have? Okay, and what areas again?
Korea and Japan.
All right. And you have two offices there. Okay. Do you guys pay rent? Do you pay
Okay.
rent there? So
They're
you don't,
representative offices. They're not
Okay.
directly MVA employees. They're contracted.
okay. But you don't pay them at all?
Yes.
How much?
2
million for
2 million
Korea?
for Korea, 1 million for Japan.
Okay, so that's 3 million total. But that's not inclusive of any rental, right? It's just the actual person doing the work.
Yes, it includes rental. It includes office space for them to conduct the business of the
Okay.
MBA.
Have you considered maybe having them work, I guess, remotely wherever they're at and not have them have that space and they can just kind of utilize the work around them?
I mean, first, the offices normally are shared by other, because it's an actual company that just doesn't represent just one territory or one destination, but does other representations, whether or not it's products, airlines, hotels, or so on. And two, a lot of them basically are, they're not in their office per se because they're out visiting the tour agents or the other stakeholders, airlines, and so on. So a lot of times, like when we would be in Korea and we would go and we visit the stakeholders always mention that, okay, I talk to Sejin on a daily basis,
Okay.
where she's
All right.
asking me information, not only about Saipan, but Guam, to make sure that
Okay.
there's a comparison. Yeah.
And forgive me, I'm just trying to understand, how this works. Is there a quota that they meet on a daily basis or on a monthly basis? As to how many people they network with or how many people or businesses?
There's no quota necessarily, but they do provide a monthly report on the amount of calls that come in, amount of emails that are received,
Okay.
everybody they meet,
Okay.
the discussion points, and everything that's related to the business of the MVA.
Okay.
That's submitted to us on a monthly basis.
All right. Is this uploaded in your website? Okay.
No, it's not on our website. This is just contractual
Internal?
obligations from them
Got it.
to submit to us.
Okay. So now that we know how that happens in these countries where you get the assistance to market the cinema, in these packages, right? What do they market really in terms of a tourism package? And when I say that, I'm talking about maybe the categories, because one of your slides talked about the cultural aspect of it. The other one also included the historical aspect of it. Anything else? Or does it vary between Korea and Japan?
Korea and Japan are very, very similar. Although Japan, we're trying to take a different angle to with our upcoming new contract. But with Korea, who we promote and what we promote basically is based on a calendar. There's ongoing. That's 365 days that they promote, and that's culture. That's heritage, which they always promote. But then there are times like during the winter time where it would be more towards the golf market, because it's cold in that destination, and we want to bring and attract these golfers. There's areas where it's summertime, and so they switch over 3 months before that season starts, where they start promoting ESL. They start promoting fun in the sun. They start promoting family fun and all this. And so it varies throughout the year. So their calendar basically it has the per period based on what the market is actually asking for, and then it has on the bottom what they promote on a 365-day basis.
Okay, so for July 2025, what do you have planned?
Okay, so for the Korean market, it's basically the fun in the sun. It's going to be the water sports. It's going to be family activities, and so that is promoted throughout. And we work with basically the different tour agents, and the different tour agents basically come up with their concept of what they want to to promote. And the way they promote it is basically up to them. Some of them do home shopping. Home shopping, basically, when they do something like that, is they take a package. They say, okay, this is what I'm selling for this month, for this quarter, and I want to sell 1,000 or 12,000 or 1,200 packages tonight. And typically, when they go on the home shopping, depending on the variety or the popularity of that home shopping center, then they pay up to $100,000 just to be on there. And so they want to make sure that they sell in excess of 1,000 packages. Others are, just basically through social media. And the old coming to actually the retail and buying a package is almost non-existent in Korea market. Most of it is done online or on the shopping channel. But yeah, I mean, every single different tour agent, we track our top 11 tour agents, have different packages, but they promote basically by season.
Okay, do you guys see these packages prior to? Do you approve them? Do you?
Oh
or you
no, I
just
mean we
let
don't
them
we
go?
don't we don't approve them. I mean our job is basically to be there to help with the marketing for the tour agents to actually promote. The tour agent is the one that is taking the risk basically on putting these packages together, buying the seats for them, and then selling them.
Okay.
But whatever they need, like 500 sales is one of the major points that, or the major attractions that have come along this year. And
Mhm.
so every time the tour agent will promote it, they would have for culture and so on. They would have the picture of the 500 sales. In fact, when we did a promotion in Kidzania, which is kind of like this indoor. Family. It's a place for kids to go to. We promoted. Yeah, it's a theme park. We promoted like the 500 cells on the booth that was there, and then we were actually the first destination to promote there, and it was actually very nice. But we don't tell them. We do not have to approve. We don't approve what they sell.
Mhm.
They're the ones that have to, because it's a free market.
Okay, so in terms of cultural and historical tourism, are you involved in that at all? I mean, so it's just up to them to meet up with, let's say, PDI, for example, or any somebody or a personal tour guide that goes through your certification program. So it is up to them when they land to meet up and have this schedule planned out. Is that correct?
No,
Or
actually,
they just come and-
the tour agents obviously they have to do their homework, and so they have land operators here on island that they go to,
Okay.
which is why the tour agent certification actually is very important, so that these guys are actually certified that there's more of a chance that they know what they're talking about than
Okay.
blowing smoke.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because then, again, and that's where I was going with that because as you know, we had a Chinese national pass away scuba diving and the tour agent person or whoever that was just left. I don't know how you guys are going to, maybe the certification program is going to help that from not happening again. But again, it's still bad publicity, right? Because we
yeah.
talk
I mean,
about safety and
I mean, things like that we take very seriously. Unfortunately, we do have this certification, but from my understanding, the statute itself does not have the bite as far as enforcement. And so we have it, we give the certification, but it doesn't have the bite where there's actual enforcement on it. So
all right, so we'll
yeah.
make sure we take a look at that statute and see what that is. All right, so in terms of now, and again, that you are taking me through this marketing aspect from the tour package. Let me switch roles here for a second. Now, I'm a tourist. I'm from Japan somewhere. And I get online and I just put in Marianas or even just Saipan. And what comes up, I guess I don't know if someone wants to use Mozilla or Google, what it just says Marianas. I just put in Marianas. So people ask, was Marianas part of the Philippines? Is Mariana a U.S. territory? What is Marianas known for? How many Marianas are there? Have you guys considered I guess, purchasing what they call this, what do they call this? Search engine optimization. Have you considered that? What's the status on that?
Yes, we always consider search engine optimization. I don't know, our marketing team here just launched, and Thomas is our marketing manager, our new website. Search engine optimization is going to work differently in different markets. So if you're in Japan, that's separate. We're going to have to pay separate SEO fees for whatever it is in Japan, separate from Korea, separate from here in the CNMI. So yeah, that's something that we always look into. I don't know, Tom, if you want to add anything to that, but it's something that we're working on.
Yes, Thomas Kim, the marketing manager here. It's definitely a work in progress. We're working closely with Turnkey Solutions into optimizing the search engine. So
Okay.
yes, it's a
And
work
you
in
know,
progress.
when you're talking about that search engine, right, it doesn't have to be just Asia Pacific, right? You
Right.
want to have a search engine that attaches MBA with the Marianas, right? Whatever that looks like. And whoever's going to design that, because I can even put in right now Saipan, and I have, images, which is there. Wikipedia comes up first, but I'm a tourist. I want to go and I want to plan my travel 1 year in advance. And I want to, MBA doesn't even show up here if you put Saipan.
Shoot, sorry. Yeah, if I may, I mean, we understand that, especially during COVID, that there were a lot of things that were neglected, which is why we basically went to the idea of bringing on different types of representation. And so part of the representation package and the RFP that actually went out, other than airlift services, was also for the content.
Okay.
And so they take basically the bones that we have now, and that Thomas is working with Turnkey with, and then they're going to add the content. But prior to adding the content, it has to have basically the what the picture is going to be.
Right.
What are we going to promote,
Okay.
and so on. And so
Okay.
it started out with Ultra Super New, and again we had the 3 proposals that we saw this week, and hopefully again by September 1st we're going to be on the ground running.
Okay.
Yeah. So we understand the deficiencies, and we're correcting the
Okay, that's
deficiencies.
good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. I'm
And that's all part of the budget.
I'm just trying to, $12 million is a lot of money, and you are obviously underfunded, but I need to understand where the $12 million is going to go.
Yeah, just to chime in, Congresswoman, actually, if you Google Saipan, Marianas Visitors Authority is top 6 within the search engine. Similar to Hawaii and Guam, Hawaii is number 2. Wikipedia always comes up first, and Guam too,
Okay.
to follow. Yeah, so
That's why you're in
Just,
that position, sir.
yes.
We want to take that 6
Yes,
and move it
so
up
we're
to maybe
slowly-
number
yes,
2.
it's a
Okay,
work
but
in
at least you're at
progress.
6. You're not like 100 or anything
Yes,
like
correct.
that. So that
Yeah.
works. So, okay, now, good job. So in terms of now, let's go back, because you touched something there real quick. And you said the Japan market, you're slowly building back that up. I noticed in the newspaper a while back, your RFP. How much did that cost you? Because there was no dollar amount on the RFP.
The current RFP that's out right now,
Uh-huh.
you mean how much is the budget for it?
Yeah.
$1 million.
But the 2 million, right? But a million?
1 million
Okay.
is what we're budgeting it for next fiscal year.
And the reason why I'm asking is because it was on the newspaper, but there was an invitation to bid on the RFP, but there was no dollar amount figure. And that's okay. I'm just, now that we know. And that contract will be for how long? 1 year only. Okay. So in terms of,
2
I'm sorry,
years.
yeah.
Sorry, 2 years
2 years?
contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of this between you and I concept, you said you wanted to market to the millennials and the Gen Z. Ooh, I would not know either of those. So when they did this, and you had your advertising company develop this particular ad, was there I guess, a pool of people within this age group that was used to gather this information to develop what was there? Yes. Okay, that's
Yes.
good. Okay. Now, in terms of email marketing campaigns, have you guys tried that yet? I mean, you've got a lot of people in your institution that obviously, sit in front of a computer for X amount of hours. Have you considered maybe in terms of, thinking outside of the box and using email marketing campaigns? Have you guys tried that yet?
In terms of email marketing, is your question? We have monthly email newsletters that are sent out for each market, Japan, Korea, and then locally distributed here in English. That's our way of informing the market of things that's going on, opportunities that are coming forward in the future, and that's done through email.
Yeah, regarding like Japan, I mean, email is like not even in the top. It's not even mentioned as far as the ways that they advertise or get the word out. But if you would look like an Instagram, we can share with you the Marianas _JP. I mean that they're more of Instagram, they're more of X, they are more not even Facebook. It's just Instagram, YouTube. And so those are the areas that we try to focus on. Is the areas where people actually are and where they actually go and look for when they want to travel. And so and that's kind of like with this group, for instance, and as well as the three that we actually heard the proposal, that is where the people in Japan are actually going in order to determine where they want to travel.
Okay. And again, that fits a particular age group or database, right?
Yeah.
So I think in terms of like, let's say, other areas where if you wanted to market the rich baby boomers who are still active and have a lot of money, how would you do that?
Many ways. A lot of them are still very tech savvy. Those that are not are very. The way we reach out to them is through traditional methods of actual trade shows and actual paper printouts. Japanese still love to print things.
Okay.
And that's been very effective.
Yeah, and another thing is that particular age group, they normally are members of a particular tour agent. So you would have like JTB, for instance, and they have 200,000, and I'm just pulling numbers out of my head, Yeah, but they would have these members, and the JTB is the one that actually has these promotions, have these packages that are centric to that age group, and will be the ones that send
Okay.
out the yes.
All right. So that's good too. I mean, again, right? There's different markets, different people like different things. What about virtual marketing? I mean, like a spam, for example, you just send it out and they subscribe to you, and then all of a sudden you just have all of this stuff flood somebody's email. Have you guys considered, that's what I mean by that, right? You just want to flood the market with who we are, whether it be Asia Pacific, somewhere in the United States. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if we do that, we will actually, at this point of time, really get a bad rep. I mean, people don't want that kind of spam anymore. If they want instantaneous information about something, then you need to be on social media. You need to be on Instagram. And so, again, with the emails and all that, we
Mhm.
leave that up for that generation to be taken care of with their membership.
Mhm.
With their membership are normally in the traditional way
Mhm.
with like HIS and JTB, which we
Mhm.
have a very good relationship with also. So it's not just the FIT that we are marketing to. When it comes to like the seniors or the active seniors, for instance,
Mhm.
we would work with the traditional tour agents. JTB and HIS, unfortunately, are like the only ones. RUC10 for online OTAs, and RUC10 and I forgot the others.
That's
Anyways,
okay.
yeah, even Expedia and so on. So we work with them directly with those kinds of agents.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. And again, I'm just trying to understand this. I think many times we're kind of just working in silos, and I need to understand where we're going here. Now,
No, we appreciate it. Thank you.
so in terms of the locals, or at least the people from the Marianas, how do you involve? Because everyone now is an influencer, whether it be in someone in Japan that you know of, people here in the Commonwealth. How are you involving? Because you can't sell history with someone in the tour agency in Japan doing their little search and whatever, and maybe some guy is a history major and writes up all of this wonderful stuff. And going back to, what was there, I mean, how do you get our people to engage and have that connection with somebody from Asia Pacific or anywhere in the world to show who we are and demonstrate who we are as a Marianas? Are you incorporating that somehow? Are you involving the local influencers? Have you figured out how to think or how to, utilize this type of strategy moving forward? Maybe you guys writing up the content, working with them somehow. I mean, I'm just trying to understand.
Yes, so we carry out different projects, and through different campaigns, we do always highlight history. A prime example would be our Ultra Super New team, our Japan Creative Ad Agency, was here last March to do their social campaign. And along with that, we've interviewed 500 Cells. We interviewed Miss Frances Sablon. We've also engaged with Gordon Marciano and
Okay,
yes.
right. But I'm talking about the people.
Yes.
Okay, just the people
Right.
here. People want to know what are the people like.
Mm.
Those types of influencers, they're a different kind. I'm not saying that they're not great at it. They're great at what they do. They know their job very well. But people just want to connect with just regular people. What is it about Saipan? Tell me about your area. Connect with just regular people. I mean, that's what social media is. It's regular people talking about things they know, things that are passionate to them, things that resonate with them, things they connect with, right? And there's a lot of local people, my generation, including the millennials, that would even do it just for acknowledgement, right? And that's free. Utilizing your own people. Invest here first, right? And that's what we're trying to sell. We're trying to sell the Marianas, but how do we do that? We have to get the Marianas people involved. And using the social media component of this, even virtual marketing at this point, right, would be a great incentive.
Absolutely. And a lot of it, Congresswoman, is really sort of that's huge. It's a huge task. It's sort of beyond our scope, but everybody is invited to partake in any of the tourism events that we host, right? If people here want to get involved in the tourism industry, there are so many ways that they can do that. They can attend the Taste of the Marianas and meet a tourist. They can go out, meet tourists on the road, meet tourists anywhere. It's very difficult for us to be able to sort of enforce or force people to sort of take part in the tourism industry. So we kind of host these events. We have these cultural events, and we sponsor other events that are held throughout the other islands, hosted by other agencies. And we help promote on the tourism side. We're responsible for helping promote these events in Japan, Korea, and really globally, right? And that invites the tourists over to attend these events, and then that's where this sort of the connection can be made. But it's really an organic thing, and I think people here you're right, we need to sort of own up to the tourism industry, and everybody needs to participate.
And I think that would be a great start, because I mean, I'm on social media and I might go and see something, but I don't know who to tag. Am I going to stitch with MBA? I mean, what am I supposed to do, right? And these are the things, some people are better savvy than others using social media, but utilize the ones that actually know how to apply it, right? Just give them a form and say, okay, this is it. There are waivers, whatever. Here's your category. This is what you can and cannot do. And there's an incentive.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to prevent anyone from walking in and pitching an idea. In fact, we try to ask people, the people that we actually send to all these different events are not always the same people. You know, we try to open it up to different groups, even when it comes to like focus groups, like divers. You know, for instance, we bring somebody different every single event. It's not never one person.
Okay.
But it needs to be, the engagement has to be bilateral.
I
You know,
understand.
and when you look at these influencers, you know, even the influencers that we bring in from Korea or from Japan, you know, they go and they connect, they go and, you know, if they're so savvy, they go and they follow, and then from following, then we see, okay, hey, there's an interest. And if they don't have that equipment or whatever, then Tom is always here to say, hey, okay, come in, let's see what you got. Let's see how we can actually tag this in. You know, MVA does not have a huge black gate in front of its doors. You know, and the door is always open. And, you know, instead of actually approaching us, let's say through a blog, walk in the door.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Okay, I understand. That's the traditional way of doing stuff. But just as you're marketing outside, you know, I think the thing is, the thing that you're imposing is tourism is everyone's business, but it's not so inviting. Wait, hold on. I'm not insulting you guys, right? I'm not saying that. But if you're saying, Miss Chairwoman, that you don't have the black gate, then, and tourism is my business, how do I get started with MVA? I mean, maybe that's a campaign that you need to start with the local market. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, become a member or just walk into the door.
All right.
know?
So then, if become a member, then I can pay $500 to be a member of MVA.
$100 a year. And if you don't have that money, we are more than willing to actually waive that. I mean, if you have an idea, just be part of the conversation. You know, and that's where you have MTech, and that's where you have MyWave that are actually promoting that and being part of the conversation. You know, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink.
Oh, believe me, we know that, Miss Gloria.
Yeah.
Very well. All I'm saying to you is, as a chairperson, Mr. Director, I think you know this age group very well. And so sometimes thinking out of the box, right? I mean, one thing we know here is that we just can't stand change for some reason. And we don't embrace that very well. And that's okay, right? It's not a problem. But how we work together is most important, and allowing this dialogue to happen, whether you agree or disagree, but new ideas are always great. How you do that, MVA, that's up to you. $12 million will determine that for sure, right? But that is now up to your board to say, okay, is this going to work? You're always going to have to get approval from your board anyways. So, and I'm glad that there's a difference and there's a composition that allows different age groups to participate, and let them argue that at board level. That's not your business, right? You don't have to partake in that, but it's good that there's different age groups and different ways and different experts sharing and having this conversation, because I really think that when you say tourism is everyone's business, then that's from every child, anyone that's proud to call the CNMI home. That's my Marianas.
Yes,
Okay,
Chairwoman.
now that is what I'm getting to. You see that? That is exactly what happened just there. That's
And
what needs to happen.
We definitely have programs that target school-age children from elementary, junior high, and high school.
Good.
You know, Martin Duenas' division leads that.
Okay.
It's called Marianas Tourism Education Council. They are out there educating the students about the tourism industry. We're starting them young, educating them about it, and really showing them opportunities that exist in the tourism industry and ways that they can help the tourism industry.
And maybe one thing, since it's now about influencers, encouraging this type of dynamics to be a part of that marketing. Teach them how to be an influencer using what is available to them today, right? That's the difference between what's traditional and what's new. And that's what we're trying to do, is take us and elevate us to the next level, because we're not going to be here. It's these guys behind us. So what are we teaching them? Teach them to love the Marianas, teach them to market the Marianas, and teach them how to invest in the Marianas using the tools that we have and what is available to them. At this time, Mr. Chairman, I yield. I'll leave the floor to anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Flores. Rep. Julie.
Thank you, Chairman. Pretty much Vice Chair Marisa covered majority of what I wanted to point out, but no, but thank you for that too. You probably did a little more of this research than I do. I'm gonna admit that. But there's several concerns that I've been actually kind of vocal about it on the social media, and it started out with our mayor of Rota, Aubrey, reaching out to GVB in Guam Visitors Bureau. And that's exactly what Vice Chairwoman Marisa for Commerce is pointing out, is we need to, embrace the new technology, the social media. It doesn't cost a lot, Hashtag, I looked at Visit the Marianas, and I see hashtag Visit the Marianas. What does that do? It links to all the beautiful sites of the Marianas, right? And I feel that with this, we have to embrace that the new technology. And like you said, the new generations are the millennials and the Gen Z. I'm a Gen X. I was evolving into the technology from the past to the new. So I'll say maybe 99.9%, even kids nowadays, they started off 5 years old. They're already going through their, YouTube, going through all those Coco Melon shows, whatever you call it. And, so that's one thing that, I think MVA should really focus on too, is the social media outreach. And my other concern is the disparity between how, each island senatorial district has been marketed. So I'm looking at this budget here, and what is the signature event for Tinian?
Tinian signature event is the Pika Festival.
And what is Rota's signature event?
The most recent signature event would be our Rota Marathon.
And that just started this year.
Right.
What was the previous signature event for Rota?
I'm not sure. Maybe Mark has an idea of what we used to do for Rota.
And that's what I mean by disparity. So for 2024 or 23, I'm sorry, 24, NVA spent $76,000. Yeah. So in 2024, so far, NVA is looking at spending $76,551 for Tinian. Rota, $48,500. And I noticed that Tinian Hot Pepper Festival, NVA is looking at spending, or has spent actually, $50,000. Rota, the Rota Marathon, which started this year, only spent $25,000. You see the disparity? There's 8 events in Tinian and 7 in Rota. But I can say, out of that 7 for Rota, 5 are not, sponsored by NVA. In Tinian, there's 8, but only 2 not sponsored.
We
by
really
NVA.
rely on the mayor's office
Well, that's the thing
on these
that,
events.
I wanted to point out, because NVA chartered several flights to Rota in February early this year, and I expressed that concern to Gloria, where you guys sent 12 Korean tour lead managers to Rota. Who did you guys communicate it with to communicate with the mayor of Rota to collaborate. I was there, and I have.
I sent you that.
Mhm.
There's no MVA marketing except the Miss Kim.
Our representative of MVA Rota office was there.
No. Only the few people. What do they know about marketing?
I'm trying to
Is-
recall
is
that I
MV
wasn't there, but
Yeah,
I'm
you
trying to
weren't there.
recall. I know we had our representative from MVA Korea office accompanying that group, which is our representative.
Korean.
Yes, they were accompanying a Korean group.
Yes, they did. But did you guys collaborate with the mayor's office? No, you didn't.
Yes, we hosted the event.
Yeah, but it was it sucks. GVB did a better job at it. You know, I went down, you guys invited me to come down to, to join. I was very happy about it. I really appreciate that. But the fact is, the businesses there, who did you guys send out to invite these businesses to come to that meet and greet, you call it, I guess? See, there's the miscommunication there between the, from your office to the Rota office and to the mayor of Rota and the leaders of Rota.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and I remember when we went in, I believe it was in January, that we went and we visited the tour agents, and whenever we go to visit the tour agents, we promote Tinian and we promote Rota, and we try to make it a niche market, and I could tell you, and I did tell the offices of which agents actually wanted to promote Tinian, especially in which agents wanted to promote Rota, and they were supposed to actually be broken out into Rota and Tinian, and then last minute everyone actually just went to Rota.
Well, that's the
I'm
problem,
not so sure
Victoria.
why the coordination went the way it was, and I agree with you. It wasn't done very
I was
well.
very disappointed.
So
that was
when you showed me, I was
that
very
an
disappointed. I say,
opportunity,
that's
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
There was an opportunity for Rota to
Yes.
market itself.
Yeah,
You know.
because I mean, Mode Tour was part of that, and Mode Tour we had, and the vice chair was with me when we went and we visited them in January, and Mode Tour really wanted to do something special and spectacular with
That was not
with Rota,
spectacular.
and and then when you sent it to me, it wasn't spectacular. It wasn't what we had actually talked about when we were in Korea. And yeah, I mean, that was something that was disappointing to you, and I know why you're angry. And it was very disappointing to me when you showed me the pictures, and I sent them to the management of MVA, and I was very angry also.
MVA was very
yeah.
disconnected. With,
Yeah,
the
it was
leaders of
extremely
Rota.
disconnected, and it was something because we had really spoken a lot about what can be done, like glamping, for instance, in Rota, what they have as far as the Laddystone villages, the all of the beautiful areas in Rota that everyone loves,
Mhm.
and everyone else needs to know about.
Yes.
And so that's what it was supposed to be. I'm not sure, because the schedules were so tight, why it ended up to be really more of an event that hurt rather than helped,
Yes, exactly.
and
And
we
so I just wanted to ask, how is Pika Festival more successful compared to our festivals in Rota? Can we make it as spectacular as Pika Festival?
Anything's possible with planning and funding. The easy thing with Tinian is
course,
it's
it is.
close.
Yeah.
It's got multiple daily flights between Saipan and Tinian, and strong support from the mayor's office. It's not fully funded by MVA. We get help from the mayor's office in Tinian, but it's 3 flights a day to Rota, 7 flights per fleet for 7 seats per flight. It's very, very challenging
I
to bring
understand
in the
that,
same number
Chris,
of people.
and I just wanted to, I know that you guys, MVA started their first annual Rota Marathon this year in January, correct? And so, how many participants from Off Island came in, participated for that event? Off Island. And how many in Tinian for that fun run during the Pika Festival?
I think it was none.
So what was that? Was there a marathon in Tinian? I saw that there was a $50 a discount given to those marathoners.
So
some
the
kind of
discount, the
advance.
discount actually was given for Rota Marathon. We don't have a marathon in Tinian. We just have the Pika Run, which is a 5K that is part
Yeah.
of the Pika
And
Festival.
there was a $50 fee that was waived, right?
Yeah, well, Star Marianas
That's,
basically is the one that does the promotion and actually gave the discount, just like they did for the Rota Marathon. They actually reimbursed the entry fee.
$40.
For the marathon.
$40.
Yeah.
Our round trip ticket is $330.
Oh, yes, I know,
Yeah.
but again,
Exactly.
I mean, with Star Marianas, that is kind of like something that is,
Well, that's concerning with Star Marianas too, it's just in itself.
yeah,
you know.
I mean, but we can't, unfortunately, we want to control it. but without giving,
$25,000 and there's like 30 participants, you couldn't just at least take off $150 off the ticket or something? Subsidize the event?
Oh, we did. Sorry, Congresswoman. We did support. There was a group of runners from Saipan that went down. I want to say 30 people from the Northern Marianas Football Association, the soccer
Mostly from
association.
Saipan, correct?
Yeah,
And anyone from Guam?
there were some Guam runners, but not too many.
I think one of the biggest complaint, of course, is the round trip ticket, but $40 is minuscule. I mean, it would really help.
We're grateful that Star actually did something because actually we weren't expecting it.
Maybe
And
that's a collaboration that needs to be done between the airline and MVA.
sure,
you know.
sure. We constantly communicate with Star, and we're very grateful for their
Mm.
partnership in that regard.
And if I may just add, Congresswoman, we did try one time for at least Tinian
Mhm.
to collaborate with Star to offset like $20 for the first like 50, for example, tourists that are gonna head over there. We tried to propose that to them, but they declined the idea.
Well, I mean, like I said, we're giving $25,000. How many can we put in $5,000 towards the subsidizing $100? So things like that, we can do. That's what it's all about, right?
and I like the way the new mayor Aubrey is working, and at any time, because there was one MOU and project that we had that they never did, and this was basically during Efren's time, and for some odd reason or another, that project never came to fruition. And I think that she wanted to reach out and try to use that funding. Of course, the funding has since expired, and we basically asked her to go back and do a proposal, submit a new proposal. So what is actually on our budget is something that is scheduled. It doesn't prevent like Mayor Aubrey from coming back and saying, hey, I have this project that I want done. And we rarely ever, if ever, have said no. We've negotiated the prices because we need to always try to fund transfer from one area to another to make sure that if it's something that is for destination enhancement.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
Gloria,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but GVB was very successful in promoting Rota. When they brought in the influencers, say Frank Camacho and Magahed and some other, content creators, it boosted Rota within that week. And what leads me to question is, the webpage. I mean, I noticed that you guys just updated your webpage, but I got lost in it actually. I got lost in it. I addressed this out in the media, how the MVA's website was poorly done. There's only text, no pictures or videos of the tourist sites. And after I make that post on social media, I noticed that they were adding more pictures now. And I know last year when you guys came in here, the page was the same.
Right.
A year later, almost a year later.
Right. And in the middle of all of that is the time when we were constructing the brand new website. So the new website has all the images that you're referring to. And I want to kind of go back to the promotions that the people from Guam did. We do these same promotions in bigger markets like Korea and Japan, but does it actually translate to arrivals into Rota? The answer is no. It's very little. Whatever the Guam people did, we don't see it that correlating with additional increased travel to Guam, from Guam to Rota. So all these efforts are sort of collaborative, right? Like we want to work together with all these different social media influencers around the world, really. And the end goal is always we need more visitor arrivals, and so
Sure.
the
airline issues
the
and all
airline
that, right,
issue is
yeah.
always going to be paramount.
Yes. So the Rota office, when was the last time you guys have a division manager? I noticed that you said there's division managers for Rota and Tinian, but there's only acting. How long they've been acting for?
They've been acting, I'm not sure, since
Almost
over a
10
year.
years?
Yeah,
Not over a year, because I know
It's-
who was the last one
it's
there.
over a year. Yeah,
Sandra Atalik.
yeah, and she left over a year ago.
That's more than a year ago.
Yeah,
Hmm.
over a year.
So, is there any plans to hire another division manager? I mean, the reason why I brought that up because it's very crucial to have a communication with the local leaders right there and then. I mean, you can see what happened to that the tour agent managers that came to Rota. You send out the field supervisor to connect with the local businesses like the hotels, but MVA didn't provide a checklist on what to share with this tour guide or tour managers. So what is the purpose of them going down to collect data, right? Or not data, but they're going to create a package, right? How did that turn out? I mean, you said Mr. Jang from Tinian. I know Mr. Jang because I saw him cars,
Mm-hmm.
and
don't know
he's the
Mr.
one
Jang.
that's taking this tour, managers around the island, because MVA failed to communicate with the mayor. The mayor said it herself. If she had known, she would have, provided a guide, tour guide from HPO or from her office. The food we serve is sweet and sour pork. That's not local food. We want to show, we want to impress, especially those people. We want to shine. It's really dark in Rota.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of filling the position for field office supervisor, they're not titled manager, I believe, but we offered the position to in-house, and it was declined because they prefer to be in an acting position because they would prefer to go back to
In-house,
their
which
regular
is only
duty.
the maintenance employees down in Rota.
Right, in-house.
I mean, how can that be when you're asked? There's a qualification that they need to meet.
He meets the qualifications. He has the years of experience and the amount of workload that he's been taken on in the last
And I know he's
couple
frustrated.
years. Right.
So when is MBA looking
We
at
need funding.
hiring?
We need funding.
Did you put that in your request for the
It
budget?
is there.
For the Rota and Tinian
It
division?
is, yes.
Okay. Going back to the content creator, I met up with this couple in Rota, Alejandra and Marina. He actually, expressed his disappointment with MVA, where I think you spoke to him, right? And you told him about that membership fee. Did you waive it?
He hasn't requested any waiver.
Oh, well, I thought Gloria just said that if, they don't want to pay the 150, you can consider waiving
Yeah,
it.
but they need to actually request it first.
Is there any way that you can just, knock on their door and just help? He's a content creator, a YouTuber. There's over 600,000. We have to, invite them. Make it more easier for them to work with MVA. I mean, Rota right now, I think we have one of the best diving spots in Rota. And he's a diver. He actually reached out to me just a couple of days ago because obviously there's no office in Rota. So, they reached out to me.
We do have an office in Rota,
I mean, you do,
Congresswoman.
but there's they would have to communicate back with you. But then, it's best that you have somebody there, that can meet with the mayor. But it's only the acting field supervisor.
Who is an employee of the MVA. So we will work with him on making sure that these things are handled locally in Rota.
Yes. And the thing is, they want to, promote Rota as one of the best diving spots. And they're looking at bringing in maybe like 7 to 8 well-known divers, YouTube divers. And I hope that, you guys we'll be able to work with them and promote.
Thank you,
Rota.
Congresswoman. And through our marketing, Tom, and you remember the conversation, we met with them in person in Saipan. They came to our office, him and his wife. We offered, he even floated the idea of having a scuba diving festival
Yes.
in Rota. And we offered our support, so, we need to continue the dialogue with him so that these things are
I think
come
we
to
should just do
fruition.
it and not continue. But like, in Palau, I was looking at Palau Visitors Authority, and they sent their members or to the California Diving Convention. They literally went there to promote the diving spots in Palau. I think that's one. I know we're doing a lot of recreational tourists, coming in, but I think we have to expand that market.
Congresswoman, going back to see people. So the last conversation we left off was for them to provide us more detail and a more thorough proposal. But we still haven't heard back. But
Because
yes,
they're disappointed how NV approached them.
I
They don't
just don't
wanna-
get why they'll be disappointed.
maybe you should
We
revisit them and-
constantly
yeah.
do
So-
collaboration posts through our Instagram, and we promote their contents through our Instagram. So we've been actively, promoting their businesses and their contents. So I'm not understanding
'Cause I
why they would
believe
be
that
upset.
time, you guys reached out to them if they want to join the expo is it Korea? Was it in Korea? To have a display for them? Is that correct? That's what he mentioned. Yeah, but because
I
of
can't
that, I guess you guys are requiring an upfront $150 fee. It's just the approach. I don't know what was the approach that happened, but anyways, I'm just saying we do have a YouTuber in Rota. Let's please help. Promote their and eventually promoting Rota itself too.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And we'll reach out to Alejandro. And just for the record, we do promote diving in ADEX, Singapore, DIMA, which is the largest dive show in the world. So we participate in these to specifically target that niche market, the divers. And Rota, we market as having the clearest. Sorry to Saipan and Tinian, but I have dove in Rota, and they do have the clearest water, the best visibility in all the islands. So I'm a believer and I'm an experiencer. I'm aware of it. So it is something that we're continuing to do. Thank you.
Okay. So I know that I think I was looking at or watching the video how we have that QR code on that video in Korea, was it? So basically, people that are walking by can just scan it, right? Where does that link to?
Our website.
Your website. How many daily, or you can give me the numbers, daily or monthly visitors to the website?
We do have that data, not right now, but we can we can get it for you and email it to you.
Okay. The reason why I ask is because, that's why we need to, NV needs to beef up on their website.
Absolutely. And every time there's a QR code scan on this, we register it and it clicks, we register it on our site and we record it. So we'll share with you that information.
And have NV ever considered having QR codes on all the tourist sites? And then that would really just pop up all the information.
Yeah,
right?
and
Background.
we've even talked to like HPO and so on, and it's something that we're trying to work with, but there's some infrastructure issues, and so the back end is one thing, but in order to do like the QR code and MARPI, and then the signs basically have to be uniform. And so it's something kind of like a long-term thing that we're doing as we're doing the oh gosh, like the EDA projects. Yeah. What's that? With the destination enhancement projects, and it has to be in coordination with like HPO, and Parks and Rec that will have the backside as well as the front side. We're hoping that the broadband project will continue and will basically be finished really soon, so that it's a lot easier to get the information on the back end than it is to read it off something that is always fading because of the elements. But yes, we are working on that. When the Korean tour agents come, they're already on Google Maps, and so Saipan is mapped. But in Rota, I mean, I tried to do it when I was in Rota a couple of months ago, and it's just when there's just too many blind spots. There's dead zones everywhere. But yeah, I mean that's something that we really need to look at, and we have been, working on trying to get them on the signs, but it cannot be done without the connectivity.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Chris, and members. Ayu. Thank you, Chairman. For now, yeah.
So does that mean you're putting more money into Rota's marketing?
Yes,
fund?
and with all the support of the legislature. Thank you.
Any is this regarding the local funds, Rep. John Paul? The $5 million? Are you addressing that right now, or? Oh, okay.
Can I be recognized, Chairman?
Sure.
Thank you, Director, and your team and Chairwoman. I'm really glad that on your presentation you had some grants awarded for destination enhancement, and if I stand corrected, I saw that you guys are going to fix up the restroom in Command Post, Suicide Cliff. I didn't see Bonsai Cliff, and I just recently brought my daughter who just visited from Washington State, and I think the restroom is down there as well. Is there any plan to even include the restroom there in Bonsai Cliff?
Yes, Congressman. The EDA grant that you see on the screen there is that grant, and we are supporting them in terms of design support because the MVA actually owns a design already for a Banzai Cliff, and that is being worked on through Office of Grants Management.
That's really nice. Thank you for your response. And I really agree that with all this marketing, I think we need to really put more emphasis on our destination enhancement. It's really important. It doesn't make sense spending millions marketing our islands and only to find out our tourists are here with a very not welcoming scenery. So I really thank you guys for putting emphasis on that. Lastly, with regards to MVA, can you expound on how do you guys are you guys in a working relationship with CPA? I know that there's latest developments with CPA with airline rental fees. The board has voted also in cutting down the landing fees. These are some things that when you market out to the airlines that you share this information so that we can have perhaps airlines influence and encourage to come our way. So is there such a working relationship with MVA board or MVA CPA for that matter?
Yes, I mean, definitely. Unfortunately, we did invite CPA out at one time when we did go out to Korea, because when we go out there, we also visit all the stakeholders, which includes the airlines. But unfortunately, it didn't gel with their schedule. But whenever we go out and we visit, and especially our Korea office, there's always concerns that our stakeholders bring up, especially the airlines, and that always goes back to their board. That always goes to the administration. So that they know that. What the actual headquarters are talking about and what the actual headquarters are concerned about, because they do, CPA, they do talk to the airlines, but they talk to the station managers a lot, and what the station managers know versus what the headquarters, which makes the decisions, know are very different. And so when we get the communications directly from the headquarters in Korea, for instance, then we always pass that on to CPA.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I asked that there should be a really good network and working relationship with CPA so that we don't have that miscommunication or misinformation out there. Thank you for that response, and you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan, Rep. Benavente, then Rep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Sidus Mosi, Chris, Director, and Gloria. Sorry, I'm going to try to speak tomorrow as much as possible. I know you understand. Lo, ulilistin na dong kulustin na sa $12 million. na request. Tilele ko na tinchechegwi chitsumiju sa manahono amju je naliliko. I was once worked for the airline, and normally airline go promote themselves too on every areas that they are stationed or they operate. They promote themselves. Unfortunately, nowadays, it's different. We have to strategize on all these things. David itatsogi siya na alpha patatsogi ni para tayong bayad olo ni iturista. Lo guahay ning gekku. And this is a no school belief. Tayo manya sangan si Congressman JP Sablan. We gotta clean our house before we start inviting people into our house. I'm glad that you're a diver. Because I was also a diver. And I tell you, Grotto is one of the best diving spots in the world. Ang patatanas. And that's the truth. Now, when we go into Marpine, there are also areas of Wasya areas ni look ecotourism na site. Why do na areas look para turista ni sinya man moti tourist da po mabil lugar lo anumano watu gina lugar fatay amenities taja kumikiliko tinaong facilidad ni pero na fanmago fi tourist ang man motu lugar da pero mali lugar na bonito lugar mauling na lugar kultura na banda ti worry do sa kulturata para fata fanono chagwe niya nagagi si Miss Anderson, si Catherine Anderson, da tunga loki po di kultura. Lo, bandan turista na banda, debi di tafan seryoso gini no director sa mampus megay sa lapit ako agasta intingwa afay situasyon di administrasyon na Marianas na inkubukako pagi gaston sa lapit tinahong fengkas pus debi di taloki nitska longi matan ano antakakanu guaguan na ning kanu debi di tatunguloki komadonit papa ni parata sustainable enough di kumikiliko put patafan nahunga ni sinya mga lamtingit nigi na analogy nigi na hemplu unanayam so na atan kabalis ni sa man masasapit kung tori gobernamento masasapit niya didit mga madispidisya gaston salapi siya ni tatsuli gini kita Marianas sa utungan na todo ramjo lo memeganya am digizamjo como prendi fino samoro lo kina mahungong ni publiko stine basta na tafan amjo lo kin fan makritisisa moleng niya na tanagwahay na kumprendi gini ni kongreso dan amjo ni mo maninya kosa kyang gingwaha man mangumplain gisanidong mangkwento si gisanidong sinya tataga meno na binaban office na binaban na desisyon padafa na intensyon ni mo na sinya mo mas mo na babay kinalamtin ni amjo ni chechevi office chumizo pusijigi na leko por favor maila ta fanado da sa tinyebu jo gini ki legislatura loke lo amjo loke ti manyo ibamjo disti MBB Marianas Visitors Bureau Watan jane Marianas Visitors Bureau bula chetsunya loke gibanang tourist lo anumano pakatan makpi sa wow kukuni ito ko grant siya do mahono do tagin pa makpi Watan tigos ka salon makpi ni sita guaha di na dahi ja tafana jo dane sa Piot Pognon misiona na guasya grand man manonay. Fera di gininifeng kasi administrasyon. Watalo grand siya man manonay. Pus gininenone kumusinya tafana ajuda da tafana conforma muna. Toja tiwag again samjugi jud medyo budget request. Law. Jaw na bay tuka ujung luki data songan ta gini na ta maximize ito ta effort. No. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Melenti for the Fengkasta ni Kabkao. I don't know what that means, but
Jamu Lilian sa ifengkas ko bikinya guinaha parewa sa lokpi ang kusas.
okay. Comprendí poco. Rep Odon.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm not even going to pretend that I know, tourism and marketing. No. So let's just get that no straight. But what I do know, is that the same as, just to reiterate that before, like me personally, before I invite somebody over to my house, I want to make sure that my house is clean. You know what I mean? And it smells good, looks good, right? And it's got the supplies that it needs to make sure that my visitors are well taken care of, and to entice them to that, hey, I want to come back to your place and visit and whatnot, not that I supply all the drinks and the food and, so as I'm looking at all this, the government agency and also the model for, tourism is everybody's business, right? And, like, let's just start off with one. Okay, first off, we all know that the Marianas, cinema, from Rota all the way to Island of the Birds, right? That's all of it. It's not just Saipan, Rota, and Tinian. It's all of it, right? And those are, the islands north of Saipan are untouched and pristine, tourism destination. I don't see that a whole lot of advertising on that. And I'm pretty sure, like, with today's Gen Z or XY, whatever they call themselves now, he, she, they, whatever, right? They're kind of like a lot of tree huggers. They love nature, and I don't know if you ever, I admire, see Mr., I don't know if you guys know him or whatnot, but, for me, I admire Mr. Vlad. You know what I mean? I mean, if I had the money and if my body parts are not as damaged as it is, I would go and, go on adventure with him. You know what I mean? But being in the military for so long, I got bad knees and bad back and, but I know I could go over there and take it easy and I'm pretty sure I can enjoy. And I don't see a whole lot of that. Right. And I'm not trying to tell you guys how to do your job, but I'm just saying that if I had like those pictures that is at my backyard, you know what I mean? Why would I want to go anywhere else? And it's very inviting to see people that, because there is a lot of money to go out there on adventure. I don't want to go to Africa and kill a lion and bring back its hide, but I want to go watch it, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that will want to see pristine beaches and whatnot that is not being, light polluted. So you go to Pagan, take camping, whatever, right? And so that part, right? And I'm trying to figure out, Steve, with all of this, tourism is everybody's business, and this phrase where we should all work together, we should all this is we got to help each other, but let's all work together when it only works for me first. And the reason why I say that, so let's say, for example, who is this? Zoning mission statement: to safeguard the health, safety, and general welfare of the resident and visitors of the CNMI by administering an effective zoning that allows for harmonious business enterprise. Because Visitors are potential investors, right? When they come over here and see an awesome place, they might just see, a potential for investing, right? So business enterprise compatible with proximity use and land use that protects the interests of both present and future resident, which are hopefully present and future investors. Because the more investors we got come in, not just visitors, but that's more money to, maybe you guys would be getting more than 12 million if we had more visitors and we had more investors, right? So how's that teamwork going along? You know what I mean? That just before, and then let me get rid of that. The other one is, NMHC. And I know NMHC is not about, tourism, but it is about elimination of slum and blighted, right? And yes, it's not they're not there to put money on businesses when they should be taking care of their own, stuff, right? But at least the houses, or an apartment complex, right? Because you go to a lot of going anywhere on this island, you don't have any choice but to look at houses and see houses and apartment buildings, right? But if the apartment building or the house is covered in mold, is that black paint or green, or is that mold? The same as, hotels, the same as restaurants. I mean, how is this inviting when is that paint, or is that plant, or is it mold? It definitely doesn't look attractive, right? And then CETA mission statement. We provide appropriate financial and technical assistance to facilitate the startup or expansion of private and public enterprises for their success, the benefit of the CNI's economic welfare, and the long-term sustainability of CETA. So this word here, private and public enterprises. I'm pretty sure MVA is a public enterprise, correct? Yeah, how's that teamwork working out? Just rhetorical for now. And then here goes commerce. The mission and goal set here under are geared fundamentally toward developing sound solution that would help stimulate the Commonwealth economy by promoting a favorable business environment, attract private capital investment, infrastructure investment, research grant, and job development. I'm pretty sure that MVA can find themselves into that as well, right? No? Okay. Now, again, moving forward, right? I cannot really say much about MPLT because the money that they do receive, they invest it, and then it comes into the general funds, which a portion of it goes to MVA, right? Well, because when it does come to the general funds, right, the investment, that's part of the money that they get, or no? Sometimes, but you get something. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, moving forward. Here's DLNR, Parks and Recreation, in charge of landscaping and beautification projects for all Commonwealth Parks and Recreation sites. Now, a couple of months ago, I went to the beautiful island of Rota, and I'm very happy and glad to see that grant management was able to, upgrade the pavilion and actually provide solar lights like the way we've got here, and hopefully it's happening in Tinian as well. Definitely don't want it up in Northern Ireland. We need that to be virgin, no light pollution, keep it pristine, and so that's one. Moving forward. The Department of Public Safety, the mission statement, the members of the CNMI Department of Public Safety are dedicated to providing the high quality public safety service in order to enhance community safety, protect life and property, and reduce crime and the fear of crime. And to do this, we pledge to develop a partnership with the community, lead a community commitment to resolve problems, and improve the safety and quality of life in the Commonwealth. And that's not just to say for the local, or the residents of the CNMI, but the visitors and investors. So moving forward, which one is this? Public Works is committed to ensuring compliant. No, not that one. Public work needs of resident and guests of the CNMI. So guest is the visitors and potential investors, right? Again, how's that working out? No? And CUC. The Commonwealth Utility Corporation is dedicated to excellent customer service, providing reliable, environmentally sensitive, and effective power, water, wastewater service for the people of the cinema at the lowest reasonable cost, while ensuring the safety of our employees and the community. Yeah, how's that working out as well? I mean, you cannot even drink the tap water and water that you pay. But no, I got to go to JG Sablan and buy water to be able to drink. You definitely can't do that in any restaurant or hotel from my understanding. You provide tourists with tap water, and I'm pretty sure somebody's going to be visiting CHCC, and they're not going to be enjoying the rest of their stay. Huh? Right. Some of them do have RO. So that's not CUC. Yeah. So there goes that. Right. So, what I'm trying to get at is that we're asking, the government is very limited on its budget. Right. And I know like the House is not perfect. The House members are not perfect. Okay. But what we do, right, is we share our resources, whatever little resource we got. So imagine that, she's zoning and she's commerce and DPS and whatever. But I know that the resources, the limited resources that we do have, we do share it. And that's why we're able to do a lot more things than if we were to do it individually. How's the executive department doing in that category where, this cliche of let's work together as a team, because the one thing another thing I do truly understand is, as a former, active duty military, is teamwork. Because if I don't work as a team, I'm probably going to be 6 feet under. So how's the collaboration? Is MVA and the rest of the governmental agencies working together to maximize the limited resources that we all have? Because if we do have a lot, if everybody does work together, instead of, that department or that division is, doing this and they're taking this and they're doing that and they're taking that. That doesn't sound like teamwork to me. Especially in today's situation that we're in now, we have no business in, robbing Peter to pay Paul and, bifanado sa, tun commerce and to pay si tun sida sa, and then never return it. But everybody has to work together. I don't know where we're going to find $12 million, but I'm pretty sure that we're sure as hell going to try. And like I said, I'm no tourism expert, but what I do know is teamwork. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may comment a little bit. Thank you very much, Congressman. First, to the point of the Northern Islands, it's challenging, but we do market them on our website. As you can see on the screen, there's a landing page dedicated only for the Northern Islands. So we're doing a little bit of what we can. Logistics are challenging to get up there, so we don't want to. There's no tourist facilities at all, right? There's no hotels, there's no airport, there's no seaport. So it's challenging for us to sort of promote it on a large scale basis, but we try.
That's why it's like, it's supposed to be pristine. You're supposed to be,
Right.
you want a toilet, go to the jungle.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Dig a hole and bury it.
Right. And then to the second part of your comments, you're alluding to a very, very important point. We need cooperation. We need support. It's a very important topic that MVA is always caught in the middle of all these different turf battles, if you will, between the agencies, because we're the marketing arm of the Commonwealth. We have no jurisdiction over any of the tourist sites, but somehow we're always called to fix the tourist sites. We have no law enforcement authority, but somehow we're supposed to, regulate everything else that's out there. We do share our resources with other agencies. We provide fuel to Parks and Recs to pay for, and equipment and supplies to pay for the maintenance of the sites in Marpi. Recently, we provided some support to DPL because they needed some burlap bags to take care of the erosion at Hyatt Beach. So there's little things here and there. We don't publicize these things. We just do it because it's part of helping out other agencies, right? And it's something that we think is very important. And we get a lot of work done behind the scenes. And it really, you point out a very good point about all these agencies have sort of sometimes overlapping responsibilities, and it seems like there's so much to do, but nothing gets done. But we're doing our part. We appreciate the support of the House, of course, in all of our endeavors. And, we recently participated in Routes Asia, which is historically this show for airlines and airport authorities to meet and network and attract each other to fly to each other's airports and each other's airlines. We funded through our federal grant funding, CPA's participation. So we're sharing our resources with these guys, all in the name of tourism. So
I forgot one more thing. One more thing. So, when you go to the north, right? I mean, I don't understand how. I'm trying to get it through my, my little peanut of a brain. How is it that in such a small island, we still have dead spots where you cannot even communicate? So whatever happens to IT and Docomo's community benefit funds? You know what I mean? So aren't they like part of the, tourism business and whatnot? I mean, they should be, right? Right. And then, are you guys working with the, like the shops and the restaurants, and all of this, especially like in, my Congress, chairwoman here's district in 3, because I can guarantee you walk, in between those so-called alleys, and it looks like, what's the worst place that I've ever been to in this world? Djibouti, Africa. Way back, it was a straight. It's not even in a third world country category. I mean, they make third world country look good. So when you're walking in precinct 3 and you see some of these buildings and you look at that alleyway, I mean, I don't know if there's probably a dead body in there, something, because it smells bad, it looks bad. I mean, it's just. Walking down in precinct 3, our tourism district, and let's say like today gets really, really hot, and then all of a sudden it rains, and then it gets really hot again. That's that smell. Yeah, that's just not very tourism attractive. So is MVA working to ensure that those guys hold their end up of the bargain, because they're there making money, but at the same time they're not doing their part in taking care of their surroundings. Instead, I see some of these restaurants that they'll take a water that had meat being unfrozen, and then they toss it right out of the back. How's that sanitary? Yeah, so
Congressman, and I again, to your main point about cooperation, right? Like, we have absolutely no legal jurisdiction over any of that. We don't regulate restaurants. We don't regulate blighted buildings. We don't regulate environmental or health matters. They fall to under the jurisdiction of
but it
other
affects
agencies.
tourism.
It does. But then that's where we need help. We need cooperation from the people that are actually responsible for regulating those things. But
and also the
Yeah.
businesses. It's not just the
Absolutely.
government. If you depend too much on the government, guess what? You're gonna fail. You want something screwed up, leave it to the hands of the government.
I mean, we tried because we know that, like managing director said, where, we have no authority, but we do try to work with them. And for instance, when you have like DPS and we have areas, especially where crime is happening with tourists, then we always set up meetings and we try to bring in also like the hotel association or the chamber, and we have meetings with DPS, which is why they started again the Garapan patrol, and try to tell them, where the areas are. And the answer always is to clean up and light up. And so whenever it's the cleanup and you call with DLNR, for instance, that has the authority to clean it up, then, and if they need the fuel or they need anything else, then we also do that. We also have a my Beautify Marianas program that is with whether or not it's with NPOs or whether or not it's with schools, where there's areas that need to be cleaned up, and so we ask them, okay, you're going to clean this up, and then we put money into the how many bags of trash that they pick up. Another one that I know of, you mentioned the grants office. First time we have a CDBG-DR grant. It's very specific. But they did a waiver for the tourism department, the agency, and so we're working also with that. When it comes to CETA, I mean, we've had meetings before as far as, okay, these are the kind of products that we believe that we need in order to promote tourism. What our tourists are actually looking for. So, we've given them that list, and we're hoping that they'll come with us to these different expos and shows. There's one in particular that is happening, I think, in November. There's also other industries that come up to us and they say, that they're working with CETA, and then they want to know how they can actually promote their business. There's such a thing as a digital nomad, and there's some that are here that is an excellent, industry where it doesn't leave much footprint and we don't need to put much money into it, but we do need to promote it. And so we have committed to a certain group that is promoting this digital nomad industry, that we will invite them to these shows, and give them a booth. They have to, of course, pay for some of their travel, but, as long as because this is going to be under our CDBGDR. But any of the other industries, basically, we're not going there just to promote just tourism or leisure tourism. We're also there to promote perhaps like these business tourism, which and investment tourisms like the nomads. And we've spoken to, in Japan, we've spoken to their, what's that place? The embassy where we set up, and we told CETA this also. If you ever want to do an investment or trade show, that they actually offer the ambassadors residence in order to do that. So we try to reach out to them. We try to help them as best we can. I don't think that there's ever been an instance where we said, no, we can't work together, or no, we always try to find something. So
I'm not saying that you're not doing it. I'm just saying, are the other agencies collaborating with you or trying to take you up on your offer, to execute, what I mean? And then when it comes to that clean up and light up, how's that working with you and CUC? Are they lighting it up, or just
Wait,
asking?
before you answer, I'm gonna have my commerce and tourism bring back MBA for another round for those kind of discussion. Right now, I want to wrap up the budget requests. We went beyond the allotted time, but before I wrap up, did you, Rep Flores? Yeah. I'll let the one question and then Rep BJ ask question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director, and Right. The only thing that I just would like to ask, if you guys would be possible, I don't know, I've been maybe it's that one side that's very neglected or we forgot about it already. I haven't seen it in the pictures. That Alman by the Sea. That's the one that I don't know if you pass by Telefofu, you don't even know where to get there. And recently I spoke to the Airline director, Mike, can you maybe work coordinate with MBA and check out that, at least to make it a trail now so people basically know where to go. Because if you go there, you don't know where to go. It's all jungle. And that's the side that I think we haven't seen it or maybe haven't exposed to your site. Okay, there's something to take a look at. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. We'll do that. We'll reach out to Parks and Recs.
Thank you, Rep Flores. Besides Rep Odon giving more money to precinct, we are addressing the issue in precinct 3. Rep Marisa is in charge of the lighting. I think we have appropriated about 130,000 to light up the place, as well as clean up the place. With our delegation chair, we've allotted I think over 60,000 to light up the place, line up the place, and also clean up. So that's on the way. I know there's continuous job being done right there. So thank you. So when we appropriate, we will allot more to precinct 3. Thank you for that, Rep Odon. Rep BJ.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, MBA. I know everybody's hungry already, and we should be wrapping up very soon. But how many revolving accounts do you guys have, and how much funds are from carryover from the hot tax over the years that are available currently? You guys lump all the funds into one account?
Do we lump all our funds into one account?
No,
No.
a special account, right? Because you get the
Yeah.
hot tax money, then you have all these event monies that charge fees.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ed Kessler Duresa. I'm the chief accountant. So regarding your question, sir, is the hot fees commingled with our budget? Yes. We when we're doing the budget itself, we're considering all our incomes and yes.
So they're all lumped into one account. There's no separate accounts to say advertisement. This is money we got from, let's say, the Saipan Marathon, right? They bring all these people in, they register. Where does those funds go?
It all goes to our sort of, I guess, general fund, if you will, for the MVA, and then the board approves allotment based on whatever the category is, whatever the needs are.
Okay, so how much in your reserve account do you guys have?
Currently in our reserve accounts, we have around 3 million. The 2.5 is for our building fund, and 100,000 is for destination enhancement, and 400,000 is for our other programs, joint programs.
See, that's really what we're trying to get to is the reserve accounts. Yeah, because the reserve accounts, with the budget, we try to give you guys some flexibility. Obviously we're short. We don't have the 12 million to just dish out to MVA. What we want to do first and foremost from the House side is to secure the hot tax to go directly to MVA. We went through that battle, and you guys saw that process, right? When the Senate made the amendments to the concurrent resolution, stripped the MVA HUD account. We want to try to prevent that first. Then we can start talking about this additional $5 million. Because if we get the $5 million, trust me, that's going to open up the hot tax very easily to be tapped into. So the reserve account's $3 million, 2.5 is, or 2 million is for the building fund. Have we acquired the property already? Which property? The one in Garapan that we had spoken about?
Yes, DPL has assigned public land for MVA.
In Garapan?
Yes,
Or
at the
which-
fishing base.
At
There-
the fishing base.
Yeah, south side of fishing base, there's a portion there that they allotted or assigned, if you will.
Okay, well, that's interesting because they just adopted a resolution or a regulation about a year ago or a year and a half ago, reserving fishing base and the Kilili Beach South as only for recreational and cultural activities.
Thank you, Congressman. I'm not aware of the issue you're referring to, except that we do have a document from DPL allotting that portion. It's about 2,000. It's not really big. It's like 2,000 something square meters.
Yeah. Okay, but that's fine, because we actually have a legislation that was written out to reserve these properties for recreational and cultural activities. That's why they adopted the regulations. So I know that the AG or your AG at that time said that you couldn't purchase private property. I still just don't get that coming from the AG's perspective, when the government continues to take property from private landowners without paying them. But this is an opportunity where MVA can actually purchase the property, own the property, and use it as leverage in their negotiations in the future, right? For building or whatever. So we'll work on that part, but please don't try to build on that. It's only a designation of property, and if we come up with the bill, it's in their regulations, going to definitely trump their regulations, and it's going to put MVA in a situation to be crippled, right? So I mean, at the very least, you have $2 million. Properties are not going by very expensive nowadays. You can purchase a property. I'm sure there's a couple of properties that are available in Western Garapan already. With this development that's happening with the public assistance office, that director you were very aware of, and a big part of the $11 million project with the EDA there, it would work well with the development and the I guess the true investment to that property, and MVA should be part of that area. The unfortunate thing is down the road, you won't be able to apply for grants because of the low laying area. Well, it's the same, I guess, as fishing bays. But so let's try to secure the hot tax first. Let's not start talking about the $5 million that MVA needs from the general fund, because this is going to be the battle. Is that for the hot tax is going to be the battle to maintain it as a secured funding source to MVA. Anything external from the budget, or if we can find additional funds, we'll put some additional funds to MVA. But before we even get to that point, let's keep it at the hot tax and fight for the hot tax, because even with MVA meeting with the Senate during their budget deliberation, they stripped it away from you guys right after that meeting. So we want to make sure that we secure the hot tax first and then move forward to get additional funds. Any external funds that the CNMI collects outside of the general fund, we'll work on trying to do that, or get that money to MVA. But it's like what Rep. Aldon had mentioned, it's very important that a lot of the investment arms of the CNMI also join MVA in this missions of on promotions, not just the tourism industry, but the business industry. We have a lot of advantages for people to invest here in the CNMI. Unfortunately, we're not taking advantage. If MVA is going to get on a trip to these destinations, we should let CEDA know, let I guess DPL know, so that DPL can put packages together, CEDA can put packages together that we can present, that would make it so much easier, not just to promote the tourism industry, but to promote the CNMI in its entirety. And I leave it to that. And the one thing that I asked MVA is a lot of these programs, these events that you guys have, like the marathons and stuff. I know you guys work with the I don't know what they call themselves, but the guys that do the 10K, and you guys reach out to these guys, and they're able to connect with people outside of the CNMI to come join the race, promote the program that they promote here. I think they try to allow to maybe contract that out and concentrate on the promotion part of it, and let them bring the visitors in. If there's an event coming up in June, just leave it up to them so that they can plan out the calendar year. If it's marathons, then it's marathons. Let them plan out the calendar year, and all you do is you take away a lot of stress on your people, because now you take your staff and you you give them additional responsibilities, and then it's one to the next to the next to the next. While they should be concentrating on promoting the events that we have here. Let the community members run the actual event itself, as a subcontract, because I know there's a lot of stress on your people, and it's rough, right? They also got families to go to, and these events are overnight events. Now they start like at 3 a.m. You have to be there like the night before setting up, and I know Ed's laughing in the back because his wife's probably the one that's always calling him. But I leave that to you guys, so that that'll actually save you guys money, So we concentrate on your strengths, and we bring these other businesses to share in the cost and the true promotion of the cinema. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Guys, I want to wrap it up already. Thank you. You were at 12:34. Thank you, Chairman, Chairwoman, and Director for allowing us to ask some questions. I know there is some heated, but we are very passionate with our district. I'm very passionate about Precinct 3, and I'm about to take all the funds from all the other precincts and put everything in one precinct. But that's another battle in itself. But thank you. We are. Thanks for the vice reminding us about the hotel tax. That one needs to be protected first before we can go beyond that. Want to make sure that that's intact. I don't think anyone is objecting to that at this committee. But then that's a different battle when it goes to the other house. So thank you again. I do want to remind the chair for Commerce and Tourism to invite you back and address those main issues, so that we can all be in the same page and we can all speak the same language. And I also agree with Rep. Atto with regards to promoting the cinema as a whole package. We did bring in CDA or CEDA in, and we were surprised that they're not going out, and when we asked the question as to why there is no outside investors coming in, it's because they're not going out and promoting. So that we hope this fiscal year that happens, and we go to those commerce events out in either Japan or Korea or Taiwan, so that everybody's on the same page and they can speak to the person while they're out there. And I think doing those marketing events out there is very, very crucial to us. And we're trying to help everyone, because like you said, you're the marketing, we have the economic arm, we have other parts that we're used to only cutting and looking at what's before us, but we don't normally go outside the box and try to find out why we're not receiving a lot of this stuff. And of course, we were, if with regards to any help MVA asks to increase those seats, to invite us and let us know, so that we can also understand what those markets are asking. A lot of times we're not included, so we don't know. So like what Rep. Marisa said, we work in silos, so we're here we only look at things here. We don't know what's going on outside. So we need other agencies to also invite some of these representatives, so that they can understand, they can come back and let us know, because a lot of times we don't, honestly. We're just stuck with what's going on in the cinema, and by the time we see it, it's already too late. We're working on the next fiscal year. So thank you again, everyone. Director, I'll give you the last remark for closing. I'll hand it over back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of this committee. We don't have anything further other than to thank you guys for this dialogue this morning. Our doors are always open. We're always ready to assist everyone in furthering the interests of the tourism industry. I don't think you have a better team and board than we do here at MVA. Our staff work their butts off every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. we're there. And so, our mission is to keep the tourism industry alive, keep it growing, and we're doing our best. So with your support, we know that we can do better. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Director, and thank you, everyone. And with that, the chair will now adjourn at 12:39 p.m. Thank you, everyone.